Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Mylene and I'm a personal stylist. And today we're going to be talking about short and curvy, those little petite soft gamines. So if you have this body type, this is how you would dress it. But first, I just want to give a little thank you to all my subscribers because I hit 1,000 subscribers this last week and I'm really happy about it. I just think it's exciting and I want to thank you all who are watching and who engage with my content or are enjoying any of my videos. I really appreciate it. I love talking about style, so it makes me so happy to see that there are people that like to hear about it, that are on their own style journey. So this video goes out to you to say thank you. Now, soft gamines. To start, I always want to emphasize that this is not a style, this is a body structure, how your body is designed and how clothes should fit on said structure. So if you don't resonate with the style or the look of this, that's okay. Just keep in mind the main body structure rules and apply your essence into the clothing so that your style can shine through. Okay, you have this body type if you are of a petite height. Now, generally speaking, soft gamines are a little shorter than flamboyant gamines, but that's not always the case. It's more that you appear petite and short. Like in pictures or even in person, people are shocked if you are a little bit taller than they expected. Their flesh on their body is softer. It's a little bit more luscious, yin. And it sits on their arms, like the top of their arms, the top of their thighs, their hips. Those areas are just a little juicier and it's not this musculature, leaner flesh. And it's, despite the weight gain or loss, you'll always have this soft, beautiful, fleshiness all over. Sometimes some soft gamines, now this is not always, but as a general, they will have like rounder and a little bit of a luscious, chubbier face. And that kind of mimics in with the softness on their body. Some people call them like doll-like quality, but that's not a direct, if you don't have this, but you have everything else, then don't discount this as a body type. They will have angular shoulders, which feels like a contradiction, but that's what gamines are all about. You'll have angularity here, yet have softness throughout. So it's a little bit of that tiny bit of yang in those areas, but with this softness sitting on top. And it's not in any extreme necessarily, but in a very petite, narrower frame. Your arms and legs may be shorter than your torso, but this is not every single soft gamine. It's just a very typical thing to see. Sometimes they're a bit more moderate size, but they won't be super long for your body type. Generally, they'll have like longer torsos. And even if your legs and arms aren't super short, you almost, as a whole, the overall vibe is going to feel shorter, more compact. Your bones, this is for men and women, are going to be delicate. So as with the other gamines, you just are more dainty in the bone structure. It's not as strong looking or as, solid. It's a bit more delicate. Like you could snap it. When people say you're big boned, that's not going to be a soft gamine at all. You will have more defined hips than, say, a flamboyant gamine, but they aren't, hourglassy. It's just, there is some flesh there, so it's a bit more rounder, a little bit more defined, but you don't have a super hourglass shape in any way. There's just that soft kind of outline, and you don't have angular hips. Some will have smaller hands and feet, but if you do have a bit like regular size hands and feet, that's also pretty common too. but it is a characteristic that a lot of soft gamines have and can point you towards it. For men, you're going to look short for a guy in all around. You'll kind of look a bit all compacted with rounded edges everywhere. Their body will do kind of like a rounded shaped in general. And their flesh will also be very soft. So just compact with rounder shapes and shorter limbs, essentially. When gaining weight, soft gamines will collect it everywhere where they are fleshy. So on their arms, their thighs, their waist. Their faces tend to get quite rounded when they do gain weight. That is assuming you have one of those soft gamine classic faces where they are a little rounder and a little juicier. You are not this body type if all around you're very moderate looking, including your height and your proportions. If you have lean flesh or appear very, to have this lean musculature regardless of your weight. I always want to point out too that just because you have soft flesh does not mean that you can't build muscle or look like you have muscle. You can. There's just a layer of softness sitting on top, and it's just the type of flesh that you have. Or if you are incredibly super sharp all over. If you're yes, you'll have angularity in your shoulders, but if you have sharpness like everywhere else and very angular hips and everything, then probably not a soft gamine. Or if you have an extreme hourglass shape that's like super luscious everywhere with no angularity, then no. So the overall shape structure that you want to achieve with this body type, waist definition in every single outfit. Similar to what I talked about in the dramatic classics, it's not a waist emphasis, it's a waist definition. So we just want to always know where your waist is in an outfit. So there's nothing loose and unconstructed, and there's not just full no waist anywhere. It's just defining it. Because you're a compact and petite frame, we want to find that waist to know the proportions on your body, and that softness on top will kind of create, when you put material over softness versus angularity, it doesn't hold the shape as much as an angular body structure. So when we define it, puts it all together. It gives that structure that your body type sort of needs because you have a little bit of angularity, but we're keeping it put together and honoring and helping that softness have a little bit more structure. Some soft gamines feel a little bit like they're just larger than they are if they don't have their waist defined, or they just feel stumpy, and that's because they are shorter in nature. So just defining it kind of keeps it all compact and helping your proportions even out. Second, you want soft edges to things. Now, this can be done through fabric that you use. So if there's something that is a bit more angular, but you put it in like a stretchy fabric or something that flows, that's a little bit, doesn't have too much structure to it, like silks and soft cottons and soft linens, velvets, then it helps to soften that angularity a little bit, which is what your body type is. Or you could do it through little soft edge details, like a little puffed sleeve or little frills, a little bit of a ruffle, nothing over the top, a rounded collar, just to have that hint of that softness that your body type has. But because you're petite, it's honoring that little cute petiteness in your body frame. You do want some slight tailoring because you are gamine and petite and compact. You don't want everything oversized, and you don't want to lose your shape because you are so small. It's so easy to hide, to disappear. Soft gamines can quickly disappear if they don't have their waist defined or things are not really tailored to their petite proportions. So get a good tailor or learn how to sew, or just shop in petite sections will help a lot in this regard. But again, even though it's tailored, you do want a softer material with it. Lastly, you look incredible with tapering. So that's tapering at the wrists or up maybe right when the edge of where the softness might end, so right above your elbow, tapering around your ankles. You just want to kind of define the smaller parts after softness. That looks so beautiful and also honors that compactness that you are. For tops, you want to look for rounded collars, rounded necklines. You do not need to do openness like the naturals. You can go higher up. I kind of did a little bit of a Soft Gamine look today to show you an example, but this is like a nice roundedness. That'll look really good, especially if you have roundedness in your face. It kind of, you're honoring that. Having roundness against roundness looks really beautiful. And then you can have slight puff details around the shoulders, maybe a slight peplum. Just a little bit of hint here and there on like long sleeve, whatever kind of shirt. Doesn't need to be a blouse, it could be a sweater with a puffed. That just honors that little bit of softness on top of that angularity that you have. And because you're not fully angular and you're not fully this like super lusciousness, you don't want to go too tight unless you balance it out. So if you had like a flowier bottom, you can go a little bit tighter on the top. And also depending on your essences. But definitely aim for drapery minimally, lightly, over anything super tight and super stiff. Again, you want tapering, so at the wrist, above the elbow. Tapering is just gonna be beautiful on a lot of shirts that you wear. And it doesn't have to be super extreme, just like have that mimicked shape. Your sweaters, yes, fitted, but with a little bit of tapering helps to soften it a little bit more. So like a slight puff sweater, or maybe tapered here and like it kind of comes out a little bit. Again, you don't want anything too extreme. Maybe some ruffles, like have fun with it. And obviously if this just does not fit with your essence, just don't add ruffles. Classic cardigans that kind of come in a little bit, that create this sort of crop shape, yes, but it makes a little bit of a billowing, comes in at your waist. That'll be beautiful. And wrap sweaters that are cropped and like a little thinner ribbed, so like a ballerina top more than something thick and chunky, would look really beautiful. Bottoms, you want to keep things curve hugging. So look for jeans that have a little bit more stretch so that they can sit on top of that beautiful softness that you have. And because you have that softness, skinny jeans actually do look really good on you because it's kind of following that line. It's hugging that softness that you may have in your legs, but keep them cropped just above the ankles, really nice. And for men, you can go for a straight but tailored narrow jean. You want tailored pants that are, like I said, cropped and maybe come in a little bit, that tapering effect, slight pleating, but nothing too crazy. Your shorts kind of mimic the same thing as the pants. You kind of want them to billow out a little bit around the curves and come in a little bit of pleating, maybe like a slight paper bag short, just nothing that will overwhelm your frame at all, and high-waisted looks good. Speaking of, high-waisted looks quite good on Soft Gamines, but because you're Gamine and very petite, play around with those proportions, because like I said, with the flamboyant Gamines, sometimes when it says high-waisted, it is like way too high-waisted for our petite frames. So play around with it. Maybe mid-rise, it might be more like a high-waisted on you. Play around with it. You will actually look really cute in short skirts, but you can pull off a slight midi length, nothing too long and nothing too like, play around with where that'll end. Some people will look great just at the knee, just below the knee. It'll depend on your proportions. And the reason for that is because you can handle a little bit more flow and it won't feel like it's overwhelming you. So yes, it's a bit of an A-line shape, but it doesn't hold its structure like the flamboyant Gamines, and it is a bit flowier. Maybe it has like a little bit of a ruffle detail at the bottom, pleating more so than straight and super structured. You want skirts that have a defined waistband, of course, and anything that has pleating will help a little bit. Just honor that softness. Don't go too extreme, of course, but pleating will look really nice on you. Wrap skirts that have just a little bit of structure but have softer rounded edges will look really nice. So like maybe think of a linen wrap skirt that has rounded or more blunt edges as opposed to sharp and structured. And the wrap kind of honors that little bit of curve, that softness that you have on your body. Dresses, now look for short again or a little longer, but you will be defining and ensuring that you have that waist always apparent on any dress. And you want a little bit of a soft details, you know, a little bit of a ruffle, maybe a little bit of a puff sleeve, a little bit of flow on the bottom. That looks stunning. A tie front shirt dress that's kind of stretchy because it'll hug a little bit of your curves. It's got a little bit of angularity at the top, and then it's got that tie, which is that waist defining moment. Beautiful. Shoulder dresses that have a little bit of a puff sleeve, just a little bit of maybe some flow over top of the softness. You just don't want anything like a soft natural would, where it is a bit bigger and more extreme in the flowiness. I also think baby doll dresses would look good on you. Just make sure they're not super unconstructed or oversized. Just making sure that that waist is still defined within the baby doll dress. Outerwear, you can do short and cropped, just like your flamboyant gamines. However, I like to just make sure that the fabric is soft. So for my soft gamine clients, I look for materials that won't hold their shape as much, maybe rounded collars or like a stretchier fabric would look nice. Bomber style jackets that kind of come in that rounded shape, maybe with a collar or without a collar, just as long as it's rounded or has like a softer material to it if it's not rounded. Puffy jackets or like quilted jackets would look really cute on you, or even a vest. You could do a vest. If, just like the flamboyant gamines, you want a longer jacket, same rule applies. Because you're petite, you don't want to lose yourself in it. Try to find something that ends, you know, where your skirt or your dress is going to end. And for men, probably like mid-thigh would be as long as I would go. Anything longer, you're dragged down and you'll look actually shorter. As always, I'm going to go through the accessories a little quickly because I think they lend themselves a bit more to that personal essence where you can really bring in your style. But real quickly, rounded toed shoes, and that's flats, Mary Janes, loafers, boots. Ankle boots look really cute on you. Rounded jewelry will look really nice and harmonious on you. Same with rounded sunglasses. I know a few soft gamines that have, that are clients of mine that look actually so adorable in rounded sunglasses, like, yes. And of course, rounded bags if you're gonna go for that. But because you have a little bit of angularity, you can go for like a slightly structured bag that's a little rounded, or a squarish bag that has soft materials. And that's it for the soft gamines. Let me know down below if this is you, or if you think it's you, or you know a soft gamine. I love to hear about it. I always want to know what's out there. If you're having any trouble at all figuring out your body type, your coloring, or your essence, I offer lots of services. My information is down below, or you can just email me and ask me about my services. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative, and I hope you all have a cute, soft day.